Hello, everybody. I'm Richard Stashy of Tankard and Tales.
And me?
How to begin? I've been trying to come up with a video, and I keep on running into issues on the amount of information that I don't really have, or I'm trying to figure out.
No, I think you're obsessed.
Yes, I'm
He's obsessed.
Yes, I am. Yes, I've been very obsessed. Okay, first I want to point out that I am not a professional.
A professional at what?
I don't know. I'm not a professional
Wrestler.
I want to point out that I'm doing this for fun. I don't want to be ill intent. I don't want to be really, really mean. I think the information in this video is a lot for fun. So to start with, I'm going to talk about Object of the Arts. She does a lot of videos, kind of mostly focused on The Shining lately, but she does a lot of other videos. She's more like a fine-tooth comb researcher, and I'm just kind of like I just feel like I'm a little detective in what I do.
You're a casual fun time obsessor.
Yes. And I just sometimes do videos on this, as you can tell. And the video that she made, it was really interesting, is the Where is the Snow video that she has, which talks about her theory about where the snow is coming from. And I think this video that I have kind of ties into it a little bit. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. How does Rick James says it?
That's how he says it, I'm pretty sure.
If you ever watched the skit of Rick James and Dave Chappelle show, it is hilarious. I think it's one of the best skits ever. And he often ends up saying cocaine is a hell of a drug. And I don't want to really get into too much details about the Stephen King that he loves cocaine, but I do want to point out that he himself admittedly says that he was doing cocaine during the 70s all the way through the 80s. And
I don't think he still loves cocaine, though.
No, I don't think...
For the record, I don't think Stephen King still loves cocaine.
Yeah, he probably doesn't love cocaine, but I do want to stress that he says that he's been a heavy user from 1978 to 1986, which might come very important if I do this other video. But I do want to stress out that in 1978, that was when Stephen King was supposed to be helping Stanley Kubrick out with The Shining, as I believe. According to the story goes, he was in England for 3 months in the 1978-ish time, and then he left. And I think, if according to Stephen King, that he's a heavy user of cocaine and alcohol during 1978, I think he went off his rocker a couple of times in front of Stanley Kubrick.
Maybe.
Now, I'm assuming this, because I don't really have much evidence to go on, but let's see where this adds up. Now, I want to talk about the Doors first.
Band?
No, not the band yet. I want to talk about these oddly Doors, and the most curious thing about the Doors is that what I really wanted to talk about is the odd location of the room numbers of these doors. In this case, these are the freezer doors, and as you can see, that the numbering of the freezer door is like very at the high end of the door itself, on the door frame, and you have a little hard time seeing 104. And I think it's purposely intentional. In this case, there's this, I've been kind of calling this like a staff room.
Staff or service room area.
Yeah, I've been kind of calling these doors the staff or service door areas. I'm not relatively sure. I still kind of believe that this is part of the hotel itself, but there's basically two different doors here. In this case, as Wendy and Jack are going to their room for the first time, Ullman's passing through a couple of doors, and this happens to be number 5, which is a very odd number.
I don't think it's odd.
Well, I think it's really odd for a hotel room number because, as you can see, they're not on the first floor, and towards the ending of the movie, you'll see Danny sliding down a snow slope, which there's no way they're going down the first floor. And this is room number 5. Typically speaking, when how the hotel rooms are set up, usually the first digit is like the floor number, and then there's like another digit following after, which is the actual room number. In some cases, it's like a 0 and a number, or other cases, it might be just a...
Right, like 105 is first floor, 205 is second floor.
Yeah, like that. And I also want to stress out that these doors are very different to the door as we see as 237. I feel that 237 looks more of a like an office door than anything else, and sometimes I kind of think it may be hospital door-ish, but more like office doors. As you can see now, the location for 237 is a little bit more easier to see, but for some reason, once again, if you look at the far corners, all the other room numbers are always very obscure. And when you go through the movie over and over, you just have a hard time seeing the numbers itself. Now, in this case, I'm going to be talking about the staff room doors, which I'm calling the staff room for the moment. The odd room numbers, the location, they're usually out of shot and out of focus.
Yeah, because they're so important, right?
Well, I think I think when you see a room that seems to be more in focus, which I'll get to towards a little bit later. I don't want to say get to the end, but a little bit later in this video, I'll try to point out like how this one becomes very standout. In this case, we're watching them walk down the hallway here, and you have a hard time seeing that number there. I can't see it at all unless maybe high def TV would be able to see this.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not too sure. This is the number 5 again. I'm just repeating that one over. This is their room, which happens to be number 3.
Okay, so where they were a second ago is just behind them, right?
Yeah, where they were a second ago is right over here, and that's number 5. This is number 3.
All right, so we see stairs going up and stairs going down.
Yes, stairs going up, stairs going down, and like I said, typically speaking, this should be like 203 since they're on the second floor.
But I think that it could be built on a slope and the numbering is kind of off because of that, but you don't agree.
It could be, because the numbering makes no sense. Somewhat makes no sense. Now, I do want to point out that once again, these numbers are very hard to see. They're very, it's kind of like the boom mic.
Yeah. They're trying to like cut it out.
Yeah, they're trying to cut it out like the boom mic would be usually cut out in these type of shots. I think that's what's going on here. And then once again, the number is very hard to see. And this is at the beginning part when Wendy starts bringing the breakfast to Jack. And there's this number over here. I don't really know for sure what number that room is. Maybe 12. I'm not too sure. This is their room. Once again, the room is out of this shot.
237?
Yeah, this is after Jack goes to 237, and he comes back to tell Wendy that like there's nothing in 237. And then once again, you have a hard time seeing the number of their room. And then when Jack leaves, you do kind of see 3.
Yeah.
Okay, here's Jack coming back with an axe. And as he enters with the axe, you also can see number 3. Now, I'm going to talk about Wendy climbing up to the 3rd floor. And this is where it gets kind of crazy.
I think it's that crazy.
No, you don't think it's that crazy. Okay, well, after Jack leaves, she ends up climbing up to the 3rd floor, which makes almost no sense. Like, why would she go up to the 3rd floor? So it's a lot of question marks on that. In this case, as she climbs up to the 3rd floor, she's in the 2nd floor right there. And then I do want to point out that this room over here, I believe, is 25. Once again, it's a very hard to see room. And for a jump from 3 to 25 is something to say. But as she gets to the third floor, she turns around, and then she notices. Yes, she notices the bear pig guy, whatever.
Whatever that costume guy is.
Yeah, whatever the costume guy is. But the thing is that while everyone else's eyes are focused to the guy, the costume wearing guy, what we don't notice at first is that room 105. And this room is the most clearest room in the entire room.
Room number.
Yes, this is the most clearest room number in the entire movie.
I guess.
It is. I mean, it's literally like a few seconds. He's doing his thing. I tried to edit this to a PG level. He's doing his thing.
We don't even know what he's doing. It doesn't look. I never thought it was anything dirty.
Well, you see a butt.
I don't see a butt. I don't see.
Well, you
cheeks.
see a butt now, but you did see a butt.
I didn't see a butt. Maybe you saw a butt in your imagination, but I never saw one.
Oh. I guess someone's going to have to watch that part.
I guess I do.
Okay. Okay, I want to focus on room 105. All right. So I did a quick Google search on 105.
A quick Google search or a lengthy Google search?
Well, this was a quick one, and then it became a lengthy one because then I wanted to verify my results. And before I really get into 105, I want to talk about what my assumption behind the meaning of the room 105. All right, I'm going to start off with talking about the Beatles album. This is the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club album cover. Mm-hmm. This is a pretty famous cover. The reason is because they have images of famous figures from the past.
Yeah.
There is a lot more.
It's like a collage.
Yeah, it's a collage. There's a lot more things going on. And it's kind of like a pop culture reference.
Yeah.
And my feeling is that The Shining itself, that Stanley Kubrick was filming, not only that he was throwing in like stuff in the movie, but he was definitely throwing in a lot of pop culture references in the movie. And most notably, we have Stuart Ullman over there, who looks kind of like JFK. A lot of people has pointed that out.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that's a wig on him too, right? Or is that his real hair?
I don't know. It could be a wig or real hair. Not sure.
All right. Well, yeah, he does look like.
But he does look like JFK.
He's even got the American flag there and everything.
Yes, he got the American flag. Looks very presidential. All right. This over here is the Beatles' Abbey Road walk.
Or so some think.
Yeah, some people think, or they kind of reference the walk itself kind of resembles the Abbey Road walk. Then you have Danny wearing the Apollo 11 shirt, which is referencing the moon landing itself. Mm-hmm. And then you have Jack saying, "Here's Johnny," which is a reference to Johnny Carson show. These are just some of the references. And what I'm thinking what 105 is also a reference to. So what is it a reference to? Mm-hmm. A reference to the 27 Club. I wanted to address that there was no official term called the 27 Club during the 1970s, but this could have been a term that was spawned from the groupies and fans back in those days. All right, the 27 Club is a club of musicians, basically, and artists that died by the age of 27.
Mostly of drug-related causes.
Mostly of drug-related causes or some other mysterious means. Now, my focus on the 27 Club is going to be the original 5 members from the 60s. And I know that the list is like ongoing On growing.
Yeah. On growing.
On growing. And it seems like some artists are out there just trying to live up to 27 just to die.
It's not true.
I don't know for sure. But I'm just saying that. So my list of the 27 Club is going to be Janis Joplin, Brian Jones, Jim Morrison, Ellen Wilson, and Jimi Hendrix. Now, I'm going to start off with, most famously, if I can get the little click over there, Janis Joplin. And her reference in The Shining is, yes, room 105. According to the story, she died in a hotel room 105, and it's kind of used like a I'd like to say a shrine, or kind of like a tourist place.
Oh, where she died it is?
Yeah, where she died. It's still currently used as a tourist attraction, but it was a really big, I guess, a big story that she died in room 105.
And that's all you found when you did the research on a room 105 in a hotel. So Janis Joplin died in room 105.
Yeah, that's what I found in it. And what happened was that I found that, and then I was talking to my wife about it, and she's like, "Oh, I was wondering if this had anything to do about the 27 Club." And then I was digging into that rabbit hole.
You were trying to figure out, because you looked it up, and you looked it up, and you said, all I can find on the internet is that Janis Joplin died in room 105, and I don't know what that has to do with anything. And I said, I didn't say it like you said it. I said, she's part of the 27 Club. And then you said, so? I was like, look. And I told you to keep looking it up.
She said so, and then I kept looking.
You said so.
Yes, I said so. And then I kept looking it up, and sure enough, it all came together.
I guess, in your twisted, obsessed brain, it does.
Yes, it does. Anyway, Janis Joplin dies in room 105.
And then you thought Janis Joplin wasn't that famous, too.
Like I said, this is before my time. Janis Joplin owned a colorful 1964 Porsche. One side of the car looks like the opening scene in The Shining, and the other side has a strange pattern that is similar to the famous rug pattern that we always relate The Shining to. Now, this is Ellen Wilson.
Is that Ellen Wilson? Or?
Yeah, Ellen Wilson. I don't really know much about him, which kind of sad.
He was in Canned Heat, I think, the band. Isn't that right?
I think so. Right. Anyway, yes, I am connecting him to the Wilson tennis ball that gets rolled to by Danny. And if you have a very good
high def
TV, you'll probably,
or a high def version of the movie.
Yeah, if you have a very good high def version of the movie, you'll see Wilson's name on the ball. If you look up the Wilson tennis ball, you'll find out there's a yellow one and a pink one. Another famous Wilson is the Wilson volleyball, most notably from the movie Castaway. I don't really know for sure if that is the actual Wilson volleyball. It is very hard to see. That's why I have a question mark on it. This over here is Brian Jones. And when I found this reference, it really started coming together to the point like, okay, there has to be something more to this. And from what I found out about Brian Jones is that during the period of his decreased involvement in the band.
The Rolling Stones.
Yeah, the Rolling Stones band. Yeah. Jones was living at Catchford Farm in East Sussex. The residence formerly owned by the Winnie the Pooh author. Now, in The Shining, there's a lot of Winnie the Pooh references, believe it or not.
A lot?
There is a lot.
A lot.
In this case, in this little screenshot over here, you're able to see the Winnie the Pooh doll at that far corner. There's also Winnie the Pooh at the column. Next is Jim Morrison. And the interesting thing about Jim Morrison is that Jim Morrison, he was found dead in the bathtub.
A bathtub, not that bathtub.
Yeah, not this bathtub, but he was found dead in a bathtub in the apartment approximately at 6 a.m. The official cause of the death was listed as heart failure, but they didn't perform an autopsy because of French law.
I'm not sure you need to die of a drug overdose to be in the 27 Club. You just have to die at 27 and be an artist or a celebrity or something.
Yeah, I guess so. But I pretty much believe he died from drugs.
Well, what else would it be?
Yes. Jim Morrison's band was called The Doors. And in The Shining, there happens to be different doors and door numbers that don't align with your typical hotel. And then comes Jimi Hendrix. Now, Jimi Hendrix was a tough one, and I still question mark my sources on this one because I am going with Ice Cream's finding about Jimi Hendrix. I am going to link Ice Cream in the information, so if anyone else wants to look into it too. But the way how they connect Jimi Hendrix is basically through the...
Wait, they actually connect Jimi Hendrix?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They do connect Jimi Hendrix to the...
Foxy Ladies?
To the Foxy Ladies. In the posters that's in Halloran's room.
Which I think could also be an Electric Ladyland.
Yes, it could be Electric Ladyland. And to the foxes that are also in 237. I think my wife might be correct with Electric Ladyland. I'm just going to put it up there so you guys can see. Please tell me what you guys think. Happy to read your guys' comments on this one.
I think that's a stretch.
Well,
I think all of these are stretches, but I like Electric Ladyland.
All right, there's something else about the age of 27 that I found out.
Oh, wait, and I also wanted to point out something I thought of earlier that you didn't think was cool, but one of Jimi Hendrix's most famous songs was about killing your wife. Not with an axe, though. Yeah. But he didn't write the song, but he sang it.
Yes, but that's a good point. So maybe that's the thing.
Well, hey, yeah. If you can come up with references, I can too.
No, I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Killing your wife, killing your lady.
So I'm all for that. Now, something else about the age 27 I've wanted to point out. And because the 27 Club was not an official term, Stanley Kubrick could have been inspired to create the list based on... When Stephen King published Carrie, the book made him a star. He was 27 years old.
Yes. And I thought that was a little bit more of a connection than
Jimi Hendrix?
Well, that why he might be referencing the 27 Club.
Well, that might be, but I also think the reason why he's referencing the 27 Club is because according to Stephen King, he was inspired to write Shining based on the John Lennon song "We All Shine On." At least the name of the Shining ability came from "We All Shine On," and I just feel that deep down, Stanley Kubrick took that information and said, like, "Well, I'm going to top it."
And do you also think that, because there seems to have been tension between Stanley Kubrick and Stephen King, that it may have been sort of him jabbing at him about drug use and...
Yes, I think so. I think it has a lot to do about it, especially when in 1978. I feel that Stephen King did a interview that kind of like threw Stanley Kubrick and the entire movie under the bus.
Yeah, he was kind of
He was bad mouthing
trash talking the movie before it was even done.
Yeah, he was trash talking the movie while it was in production, to the point that, I mean, if I was like a person that was producing the movie, I would be really ticked off.
Yeah, I guess.
And I feel like that brought in a lot of heat. Someone probably called up maybe to yell at Stanley Kubrick, like, what's going on here?
Stanley Kubrick or yell at Stephen King?
Well, I think they yelled at both of them. I think Stanley Kubrick got yelled at, and I think Stephen King got yelled at, all because of this little trash talk that he was doing. Because when you're investing millions of dollars in a movie, the last thing you want to hear is trash talk about while they're making the movie.
Yeah, well, it's in production.
Because you want to make sure you get people hyped up to see the movie, not people like, oh, I don't want to see that movie, it's going to be crap.
Yeah, especially if you're a fan of Stephen King, and Stephen King is the writer of the book that it's based on.
Yeah, so I think a lot has to do with the 27 Club, kind of focused on the drugs as a drug reference. So so in a way, I think Miss M kind of hit the nail on the head when she figured out that the snow was cocaine, and went into the entire references on the hallucination effects that you get from cocaine and stuff like that. It's like really eye-opening. Mm-hmm. And I just feel that this 27 Club kind of backs up that reference too.
Maybe.
Anyway, this is Richard Stashy from Taker to Tales.
And me.
And I want to say thanks for watching my video, and hopefully it won't be long before I do the next one.